So as you can see here, the angelfish pair that I had put in this tank about a week ago have already started to lay eggs, and I'm expecting those eggs to hatch in the next 48 hours. So I see there are a few eggs that probably are not fertilized. There's a little calcification going on there, but they look healthy otherwise. This pair is a pair of Philippine blue angels that I purchased from somebody a while back just because of their color, and they just happen to be a matching pair. So I want to kind of jump into this a little bit and talk about this. Now, this is a 20-gallon tank that I have these guys in. It's probably an ideal situation for this particular situation. I think that if we really get down to when these eggs hatch, I think I will probably remove the parents within a day or so of them hatching, just to make sure that these babies are able to take care of themselves on their own. Now, from what I read, that is something that you should do. I do have a slight problem with this tank that I need to address, and it's right up in here. You can see that there is a vent grill in here where the water goes in, and I am concerned about that, where these babies are going to end up in that section of the tank, and I'm going to have to put some screening in there. I've done this before with discus, and it's worked out really well, and I don't think it's going to be much different with these angelfish here. So I will end up doing that today, just to make sure that before these babies hatch out, that that is in place, and the babies are not going to end up in the back of this all-in-one tank. Now, that's all I have is all-in-ones. I'm not a breeder. I'm really doing this because I like the color of these fish. They're a beautiful pair, and they have experience with, I believe it's 9 or 10 times they have reproduced with this friend of mine who gave this, well, I purchased them from him, but who I got these from. So these are a very experienced pair of angelfish, and as you can see, they're very attentive to the eggs, and they know what's going on. So I'm not too concerned about them and having them in the tank if they were to hatch out with them. But from everything that I read, it is just best to remove the angelfish from the tank so that you can just have the babies moving around. I've got plenty of foods that I can feed the babies, and hopefully they will eat and do fine. This tank has been established for probably 3 years, so it's a very well established tank. There's nothing in here that is going to create a problem for these young fish when they do hatch out. And the parents, again, they've only been in here a week. They had another clutch of eggs in a tank that I had them in previous to this, and I had to remove those eggs because I didn't want those babies hatching in that tank. So I thought I would try it here, and as you can see, we've had success in just under a week here. Now, if anyone out there has any more information that they can give me on how to take care of young angelfish, I would really appreciate it. This is really just a sandy bottom here, which I do a water change pretty much every day on, but I'm going to have to be careful with that now, because until the babies hatch out, I would be putting the eggs into a dry situation because of where they laid them. I did not get a pipe in here soon enough. As a friend of mine who breeds about 1 million discus a year down in Florida said, angelfish will breed in a toilet if you'd let them. So I was really not expecting these eggs as quickly as I got them, but what I will likely do is put a pipe in here, a piece of PVC pipe, which is what I've been told is recommended, and a stone to keep that pipe from moving around. In the front of it, on the bottom of this very, very fine, this is Caribbean sand here, so it's extremely fine, almost to the point where it's almost a powder. So I'm hoping that these babies will do well. They're going to be very pretty. They're not worth much. That's not the point of this. The point of it is to have the experience of doing this. I would like to get a pair of Ultims at some point here and have some experience behind me with breeding, so that when I do get those Ultims pair, I can have some idea as to what I'm doing as far as keeping these guys in good shape when they do hatch out. Now I want to move around the tank a little bit here to kind of give you an idea. It's kind of hard to see because there isn't anything really around. This is not like discus where they're going to connect to the parents and eat off their slime coat and that sort of thing. But sorry, I've only got this one view here, but it's interesting, and it's interesting to watch the parents, because what they will do is when you're feeding them, they will go off and take turns. One parent is always with the eggs, and one will go off and eat, come back, and then the other will go off and get some food and come back. So it's a very interesting relationship between the two angelfish. Now, I've bred discus before, and I think that's a lot more difficult than this is going to be, but I am going to get that screening put in, like I said, in the back of this tank right in here, and make sure that those babies are not able to get through that area and create a problem. So I'll be doing that today ahead of these eggs hatching out in the next 48 hours. Now, as you can see, as I said, we'll get a little bit more of a close-up here. There are some white eggs there, and that's a sign typically of all eggs that there's some calcification that went on there, that they didn't get fertilized, or something else went wrong with them. It's hard to know exactly what the situation is, but for sure it is those are eggs that are not going to hatch out. I have seen those over the last 6 or 7 hours, so I know that that's something that if the other ones were not fertile, they would have already turned color. So interestingly, this is the first time, as I said in the beginning of the video, that I have ever hatched out or bred any angelfish. I've had angelfish lay eggs in my tanks before, and I just get rid of them, or I let them hatch and they just get gobbled up by the other fish in the tank. But this is a situation where I like this pair and I wanted to breed them, so I went ahead and did that. If anybody has any questions or answers for me on angelfish, please leave it down below here, or leave it in the comment section. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up on this video. And as I said, if you have information about angelfish that I would be beneficial to me, I would really appreciate anybody's input on that. And we will see what happens here, and I will keep you updated as we go along here as to how these fish end up doing. It's a beautiful pair, as I said. They're beautiful coloring. The blue is very nice, and I'm hoping that the babies will, the young fry will look good and do well. And I'll just give them away to a local pet store that I know will take them, and maybe in exchange for some items that I need and materials that I need for my tanks and stuff. But we'll see what happens here. Anyways, thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next one. Give me a like, and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The channel's growing and we're doing good. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you on the next one. Until then, we're out of here.